Hi, how you doing? This is the Gamertron and welcome back to the Gamertron Show. You know, I never really like making these kinds of videos where I have to explain the obvious. I honestly really don't like making these videos because I find it's kind of insulting to other people's intelligence sometimes. Insulting to my own intelligence that I need to point this out, that I need to point out what should be obvious. I know, and I understand there are some young individuals out there who just haven't had enough life experience, have yet to learn or understand these things. I know there are some irrational, crazy people out there, but there are just some things you think people would just unanimously understand. Like, for instance, the title of this video, Criticizing a Video Game doesn't mean you hate it. I have been critical of video games such as Call of Duty, Overwatch, Battlefield. I've made criticisms of these games, both outside of and in YouTube videos. And they've gotten far from friendly, rational responses. With the Call of Duty video games, I am not happy, actually really not happy, with the direction Activision is taking Call of Duty. I don't like the publisher's stranglehold on the series. I don't like how Call of Duty has become this soulless blockbuster product. And the multiplayer in just about every Call of Duty I believe to be shit. I'm not a fan of Call of Duty multiplayer. I do not like it. I do not enjoy it. I think there's a lot wrong with it. Me, myself. I'm not telling you to not play the games. I'm not disabling your means to play these games. I'm not taking them away from you. I'm not saying your opinion on Call of Duty is wrong. I'm just sharing my own opinion, even though it may be critical and negative at times. I don't completely and utterly despise Call of Duty like a lot of other people do. I've played the games, I've seen their qualities, I've had my fun playing them. But I can completely understand why so many people despise the games. Can't understand why so many people play it though. When it comes to Overwatch, I have been critical of the way Overwatch has presented its story and its plot and its setting, its premise. I've also been critical at the implementation of bots in Overwatch's offline, solo, and PvE available game modes. I've also been critical of Overwatch's microtransactions. And even though I specifically said in the video that my problem was not that they were cosmetic microtransactions, that my problem that it was all RNG based, completely luck based, basically gambling. Despite me specifically criticizing what I didn't like about the microtransactions, there were still a great many people in the comment section saying, oh well, the microtransactions are all just cosmetic, so there's no reason to be upset. Why are you upset? You're an idiot. I specifically said in the video, the only way you could have missed that is if you flat out ignored it, that my problem with the microtransactions is the RNG, not that they're cosmetic. And going back to what I have been critical of Overwatch from the start with, the implementation of its story, I would prefer that the game's story elements were actually in the game, not outside of the game. Where with other video games, all the plot and fluff is actually in the game. With Overwatch, it's all outside the game. I have to stop playing the game to learn about the story and the characters of the game. I don't like that. I don't support that. I believe Overwatch's cinematics should be in the game. I believe the character biographies and the fluff about the lore should be in the game. And in my personal opinion, I would have loved to seen a story campaign for Overwatch. It didn't need to be perfect, it didn't need to blow my mind, it would have been nice if it was just there. Am I okay with it not being there? Sure. Would have it been nice if it was there? Absolutely. And now when it comes to Battlefield, I just didn't like Battlefield 3 or 4, I didn't like the games. I didn't like the gameplay. It was a pretty big departure from Battlefield Bad Company 2, a Battlefield game I really enjoyed. Battlefield 3 and 4, they just didn't stick with me. I just didn't enjoy them. And with Battlefield 1, because it's so much like Battlefield 3 and 4, I'm not interested in the game. That's basically all I said about Battlefield 1, that I'm not interested in the game. And this is how Battlefield fans responded. They got angry and upset and insulted me and disliked the video because I said I wasn't interested in Battlefield 1. I'm not excited for the game like everyone else. That's all I said. I never said I hated the game. I never said it was going to be a bad game. I just said it's not my cup of tea. I'm not going to be buying or playing it. And for some reason, for Battlefield fans, that warranted insults, name-calling, accusations, you name it. All because I said I wasn't interested in the game. because that's a reasonable, rational response. I hope for those of you who have been watching and paying attention to the video and what I've been saying here that my criticisms for these games have not been overtly toxic or hateful or even that much negative. They're my own personal reasons and criticisms of these games. I like the Call of Duty video games, but I have criticisms of them. I love Overwatch, but I have some criticisms of it. And I like most of the Battlefield games, just not the latest ones in the past few years. And yet, for some reason, people translated that as me hating on the games. Look, I know and understand that everyone leads different lives and have completely different life experiences, but I would think it would be a reasonable, rational, and just common understanding that if someone criticizes something, that doesn't mean they hate it. I have criticisms about my favorite video game of all time, Doom. I had criticisms about my previous favorite game of all time before Doom, Divinity Dragon Commander. I have criticisms about some of my favorite foods. I have criticisms about some of my favorite movies. I have criticisms about some of my favorite stories, books. I have criticisms about some of my favorite music. I have criticisms about everything. Everyone has criticisms about something. There are, have been, and will be things that we agree and disagree with throughout life, our lives, and no different with video games. So I don't understand or see the need to throw such negativity my way for providing criticism towards some video games. You're telling me you don't criticize video games ever? That's ridiculous. There must be a video game or something in a video game that you disagree with or wish was done differently. I don't understand how it would upset or offend you for me being the opinion of, I don't like the direction of where Call of Duty is going, I think it has way too many games in the series, it should probably end sometime very, very soon. I would have preferred if Overwatch had a single-player story or had all of its story elements, cinematics, and fluff added into the actual game, with full bot support, and a lack of RNG in the microtransactions. And I haven't been a fan of the recent Battlefield games, and that continues with the newest one that's been announced and shown and everyone's getting hyped for, I'm just not excited for. Why would any of that insult or offend you, or have you dislike me as a person? It's just criticisms and personal opinions on video games. I mean, this isn't politics. This isn't life issues. This is nothing so important or grandiose as to hate a person over. And to give you all a little more exposition on myself, I rarely and or barely hate video games. I love video games. I love video games with all my heart and soul. But there are video games that just don't appeal to me. There are video games I just don't find fun. There are some video games I even kind of dislike. I don't see the appeal of. There are very, very few games that I genuinely hate. Hate is a strong word, and it is overused and abused for the most part, and I am very guilty of that. But still, there are very, very, very few video games that I genuinely hate, because I love video games. There's very little I see wrong with them. I see a lot of the positives when it comes to this media, to this art form, to this product and experience. But that's just me. That's just me, and I want to get that out there. But specifically what I'm trying to get out there with this video is that it's alright to be critical of video games. It's even alright to be critical of video games that you genuinely like, that you care for. Hell, I wouldn't even be critical of all the games I have mentioned in this video if I didn't care for them. The reason I am critical of Call of Duty and Overwatch and Battlefield is because I genuinely care for these games. If I didn't care for them, I wouldn't even criticize them, I wouldn't play them, I wouldn't talk about them. You don't see me being critical of games like Undertale because I genuinely, I don't care. I really don't care about that game. So you don't hear me being critical of it, you don't see me talking about it because I don't care for it. I care about Call of Duty, Overwatch, and Battlefield, therefore I criticize them. We criticize the things we care about, so that in our eyes they can improve and get better and we can love them even more. Is that always the case with everybody? Absolutely not. There's some people who are overtly critical and critical of everything and nothing ever pleases them. Or they're being critical intentionally for a personal agenda. There are people like that out there. There are people that are going to do that, for sure. But in the end, criticizing a video game, whether it be you, me, someone else, it's nothing to get upset over. It's a part of life, it's a part of society, it's a part of culture, it's a part of how we look at the world, and it's a part of video games. And that ain't all bad. Before I end this video though, because I know someone's gonna bring it up in the comments, but Gamertron, what about the Doom beta video you made? You were all upset over people criticizing criticizing the Doom beta. No, I wasn't. There's a difference between criticizing a video game and then just flat out lying about it. Lying about a video game, well, that is a reason to be upset about. But that's a whole other topic for a whole other time. This video has come to a close, and I hope you all enjoyed the video, you liked the video, and if you did indeed like the video in any way, shape, or form, please hit the like button. Hitting the like button helps you, helps me, helps everybody involved with the video. If you hit the like button, please leave a comment. What are your thoughts, feelings, and opinions on the topic of this video? I love reading comments. Again, nearly enough comments. Please leave a comment. If you want to help out and support this video, then please share it on social media, Twitter, and Facebook. And if you want to help out and support me directly, then please consider pledging and becoming a patron on my Patreon. Anyways, guys, that's been a video, and I will see you all later.